Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to talk about virtual wholesaling and the top 5 mistakes that a lot of wholesalers make and how you can avoid them. Alright, and as a lot of you may know, I do a lot of wholesaling virtually. A lot of it is land. However, some of the deals that I've done have been houses, condos, multifamily projects, etc. And even though they haven't been out of state, they've been in the state of Florida, but state of Florida is so big that I don't have time to travel all over the place to look at all these properties. So sometimes some of these properties are wholesaled virtually. And today I'm going to talk to you about the top 5 mistakes that a lot of wholesalers make, or the top 5 challenges that wholesalers have and how to overcome them. Number 1 is that you not knowing the area you're wholesaling in. And what I mean by that is that sometimes it's very obvious what areas are very popular with investors, what areas are very popular with flippers or buy and hold investors. So when you work in the same area constantly, you kind of figure that out over time. But if you switch to a new one and you try to virtually wholesale, it's going to take some time to understand the area. And in general, I would say you can use regular comparables through PropStream or Zillow or whatever you use for your comparables to kind of get estimated ideas of the prices of the properties. But sometimes some of the things that you learn will only come through experience with the area. And what I mean by that, sometimes I've had properties that literally there's like 3 streets apart, and on this street investors would love to buy, and on this street investors don't want to buy. Maybe someone will still buy on this street, but most of them will be interested in this one. And it happens. So you will learn that throughout the time. So don't stress about that. You may now not know everything, but just do your due diligence as much as you can, and you'll figure it out as it goes. Number 2, not being able to take pictures of the property. So the solution to this problem will be solution to 2 problems. So I'm going to name the second one as well. So the third overall problem that people have is not being able to show the property to investors or when you have the property under contract. So obviously virtual wholesaling, right? So you're not in that state or you're not in that town or whatever, and obviously that investor needs to go see the property, or before even that happens, you have to take pictures of the property. Obviously you can talk to the seller and have them take pictures, but in my opinion and in my experience, do not rely on your seller's pictures. Yeah, they may give you a general idea. Well, first of all, sellers don't know how to take pictures. Most of the sellers, I would say. It's in their interest to show the property from the best perspective so you can pay the most amount of money. So they may not be taking pictures of everything that matters for you as an investor. So in my opinion, it's better when a third party person takes pictures of the property. So some wholesalers suggest hiring a photographer, going to the property, taking pictures, etc. You can go that way and do it. It's kind of expensive. It may get expensive. So if you don't have the money to do it that way, I have a different suggestion for you. So when we go back to the other problem with this as well, is that when an investor wants to go see the property, what do you think is the reason an investor wants to go see the property? They want to make sure that the repairs that you told them that it needs to be done are the repairs that actually needs to be done, that there's nothing that you're hiding from them, which makes sense. Obviously, they're paying a lot of money for the property. They want to make sure, they want to do their own due diligence. So the best way, in my opinion, to avoid both of those problems, the pictures and the investor wants to go see the property, is actually hire a general contractor and have them give you a quote how much it would take to repair things in that property. So there are a couple good things that go along with this solution. Number 1, so you hire a general contractor, they give you a certain quote that they say, hey, if you want to fix the flooring, do the flooring, the roof, whatever, this and this, whatever, it's going to cost this much. The roof, you may need to hire different people for the roof, but let's just say in general. So, and the quote most of the time is free because they actually want your business after that. You know, they want to make sure that you hire them. So a lot of times, it's cool because you can get a quote and maybe bring business to that general contractor, which gives you opportunity to build relationship with that general contractor, especially if you're doing many deals in that area. Overall, you'll get a relationship with the general contractor, and maybe some of your investor will use them. They make profit. You are doing a great job by having quotes from the general contractor and saving time for yourself and the investor. But how this solves the problem? Okay, so let's say you got pictures from the seller, and then hopefully most of the time you can get that done. So you get pictures from the seller. Number two, you get the general contractor to give you a quote. So now you have two things. So even if the seller didn't take pictures of something, general contractor will see that when they come to the property, and they will quote you how much it's going to cost to fix that. So then you can go back to the seller and say, hey, can you take a picture of that exact issue or whatever, if you wanted to. So that solves problem number one. Problem number two, the fact that an investor wants to go see the property, if they already have a quote from a general contractor and they can call the general contractor, confirm all the things, then yes, the investor does not need to go see the property anymore. Maybe they want to drive by it to kind of understand the area, but they have no need going into the property if they already have a quote. I cannot think of the reason. Maybe if there's tenants in the property, they want to go meet the tenants, etc. But that you can avoid all that. You know, that's not in the most important part. Why investors want to go see the property. So as long as you have the pictures and a quote from a general contractor, you can solve both of those issues together. Issue number four, your investor may want to reach out to your seller directly. And this unfortunately can happen even if you're wholesaling, not virtually, you know, because you're not in that town. The investor may know the area and they may drive to the property, you know, talk to the seller, etc. and, you know, kind of go behind your back. Unfortunately, that can happen. There's not a lot of things you can prevent that from happening, but your biggest thing what you can do is that when you put the property under contract with the seller, make sure that they cannot back out of the contract, or you know they're liable for whatever damages that it happens. So make sure your contracts are good and binding. Consult with the lawyer, consult with like a real estate lawyer that can help you out to make sure that your contracts are correctly done. So realistically, yes, that is a problem. In the future, sometimes it's gonna happen. There's not gonna be too many things you're gonna be able to do to prevent that from happening, but you'll do your best. And like I said, make sure your contract is binding. Make sure that the buyer puts down a non-refundable deposit, which can save you from losing the deal. And the last, number five, and I talk about this one in my course, but it's how to find buyers in a new area. Because a lot of times when you start wholesaling virtually, obviously you may not know anyone who's buying in that area. So sometimes you need to find buyers quickly. So there's two ways that I go about it. Number one, Facebook groups. That's still my main source of investors. It's Facebook groups. You go to a Facebook wholesale and real estate in that area, investors, real estate investors in that area's real estate, whatever it's called. So let's say you're doing in Tennessee, right? Tennessee real estate, Tennessee off-market properties, Tennessee investor deals, Tennessee wholesaling deals, wholesaling real estate in Tennessee. You try to put it into the Facebook in these different names. Some groups may come up. Obviously, some bigger cities that have actually the real estate groups for that particular city. So you post your deal there, you get buyers, and hopefully your deal is good enough that the buyers want it right away, so you don't have to wait too much. And hopefully a lot of people jump on it and you sell your deal quickly. Option number two is to get your cash buyers from PropStream. And the way to do it is very simple. You go on PropStream, there's a tab on the top that says cash buyers. So you click that tab, you choose the area you're interested in, and you kind of try to get characteristic of the property that they bought very similar to the one you have. So let's say a single family home in this particular area and in this particular city maybe. And when you do that, a list of cash buyers should come up. Unfortunately, not all of them will be investors because there's just some people that buy properties cash, but most likely most of them will be investors, which will help you because what you can do is pull that list from PropStream, upload it into a skip tracing system, get phone numbers, make sure the skip tracing system is actually good enough that it will provide you phone numbers based on LLCs, because a lot of investors, they flip under their LLCs, not their personal names. So not every skip tracing service is good about providing LLC phone numbers. So after you skip trace it, go ahead and cold call them or text them and say, hey, I have a property, would you be interested in? Obviously, you have to make sure that, you know, they're not on do not call, do not text list, whatever. But most of the time, investors are not. If they might be very, very interested in talking to you because your potential can make them money by bringing them a good deal. And it all comes down to having a good deal. But that's pretty much it. That's the top 5 problems a lot of wholesalers deal with when they start wholesaling virtually. I think virtual wholesaling is a good way to actually get started. And if your state doesn't have a lot of properties to wholesale, it's sometimes nice to go into a different market and wholesale there. In my opinion, it's always better to start in your backyard, but not everyone has that luxury to start in their backyard, so virtual wholesale may be the best option for you. Thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Comment down below if you have any other questions, and like the video. I definitely appreciate that. And as always, guys,